throttle is from the picturesque Alton Park, deep in the Cheshire countryside. Glenn Richards will be looking to clean up for the second time this year in the Superstocks. We get close up to the 125s. Young American Jason DeSalvo has the team, the tackle and the talent to take his second win of the year. Current 250 champion John McGuinness is injured, so it's Paul Jones on the number 1 bike with a lot to prove. The unsung heroes of British Superbikes are the privateers. They're underfunded, but no less competitive. And we take a look at one of the best rides ever from Neil Hodgson. Truly awesome. British Championship race days open with the Superstocks on track. The Pastry.com Yamahas lead the series, but the Sanyo First National Hondas of 18-year-old Chris Vermeulen and his teammate, 26-year-old Glenn Richards, gave Matt Llewellyn and David Jeffries food for thought at the last round. The two likeable Aussies have a mountain to climb, but with 6 races and 300 points available, the title is still up for grabs.
Well, you had the advantage over the R1 boys, obviously, at Silverstone, but in terms of the championships, how strong do you think your championship bid is halfway through the season?
Well, we are a fair few points behind, but I think if me and Chris can get some more 1-2s, a couple more of them, and then we'll see, hopefully, a small margin in the points. But we'll just have to wait and see how it works out.
Well, obviously, favourable conditions here today at Alton Park for qualifying. We had a rather dismal qualifying last time out, and 4th row on the grid, obviously hoping for a lot better this weekend.
Yeah, well, I had a terrible qualifying here at Alton last time because I missed the first couple of laps and I ended up on the 4th row. So I want to make sure I get on the front row this time and give myself a chance.
What's the competition like between in-house between you and Chris?
Well, it didn't really start off as much, but it's steadily growing, and it's healthy. Really, it's good. So I get on good with him, and we're certainly doing the same sort of race times and qualifying times, and it's always close, so it's good.
The top 4 in the championship are the top 4 in qualifying. Jeffries, Richards, Llewellyn and Vermeulen. What a bunch. Yamaha versus Honda on the front row. Second row, the Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha and Aprilia of Mason, Morley, Scott and Coulter. On row 3, it's Steve Brogan, Andy Tinsley, Smith and Duffers. Row 4 is Ellison, Chapman, Marty Nutt there in 15th place and Askew in 16th. The Superstocks front row is yet another Yamaha versus Honda affair. David Jeffries on pole then, but alongside him Glenn Richards. And it's all going to be down to who makes this whole shot down to turn 1. And leaping in the air was Glenn Richards on bike number 5 in the middle. But Jeffries gets a flyer of a start. But no, up the inside goes Matt Llewellyn, and underneath him goes Chris Vermeulen. Wow, alongside me is Scott Spark. Have you got the strength for this one, Scotty?
Yeah, Vermeulen didn't get it off the line very well, but he certainly made a good effort into the first corner, but he didn't have the line to get through. The Cascade slips into the lead.
And a part of the track you're very familiar with there, Scott.
Yes, so too familiar.
That was Cascades, and that's where Vermeulen and Scott fell down in the Supersport race last time we were at Alton Park. But we were, and somebody's down big time. That's a rolling bike at Cascades. We're only 2 bends in, and there's a man picking it up. Looking slightly sore, but he's got a while to get himself together. The marshals are on top of him. But meanwhile, back on top of Shell Sport it is. Number 4, Chris Vermeulen, that leads this at the moment. Chris Vermeulen, 3rd in the series.
David Jeffries pulsed it to there in 2nd place, just watching, and his teammate right behind him, Matt Llewellyn.
Through Falston's End, on now the run to Knickerbrook, the most scary part of it. Over Hilltop, it is Vermeulen on the Fireblade Honda that leads the Sanyo First National Honda, being followed by the O2 Plus Pastry.com Yamaha of David Jeffries, the pole sitter.
Yeah, Gary Mason there in 4th position on number 66 on the Kawasaki.
Having a great ride here at Alton, Scott.
Yeah,
out so wide, David Jeffries there. He took the widest line possible, but hits the front and drew it. That, for me, Scott, was a committed manoeuvre.
That was a brave line, but obviously a fast one for him, so he managed to get a lot of grip over the top of that hill, kept the bike down well. Maybe that's something to do with...
Yes, do with something. We'll delete that. We're at Lodge now, dropping into Deer's Leap. David Jeffries, 0.2 of a second faster than anybody else around Alton Park in qualifying. 47 is Jeffries, number 4 is Vermeulen, soon to be passed by Jeffries' teammate Matt Llewellyn. Yellow flag, so no passing at that particular corner.
I think that was the first crash, the crash down at the bottom of the Cascades on the first corner.
That's exactly where they're heading now, indeed. Sorry, Scott, I've got to cross you, and I know what you're aiming at. It is David Jeffries. Not only is there a competition here in the commentary position, there's one out on the track too. Here he is, 66. Gary Mason, keep an eye on him. 72 coming in behind Gary Mason. That's Jamie Morley. Jamie Morley qualified in 6th place behind Gary Mason. So Morley is there. There is Gary Mason. Mason then riding that bike that was brought out here at Alton Park for the first time in the hands of Steve Plater. Belongs to the Hawk Racing team, but run here by the official team Kawasaki boys. So Gary Mason really on it, and he's riding brilliantly in the Super Sports race too. He broke his back last year, a vertebrae in his back. He had a road accident the year before, ended up with a broken arm, and so a man that will be looking to have no injuries at all, and under comes Glenn Richards. Richards takes over 3rd place from Chris Vermeulen as we drop into Dearsley. Glenn Richards really has come good as we hit the second half of this season, Scott.
Yeah, the 2 Yamahas up front looking really fantastic. They haven't been put a wheel out of place yet. Glenn Richards was actually the guy who qualified 2nd though, so I think he's got a little bit more left.
Textbook stuff. Well, you old smoothie. Straight through there on the inside. He's going to hate me for saying that. I caught up with him last time and he was going on a bit for calling him smooth.
That's where he made.
I can't remember.
That's where he's made all of his passes so far. So he's very strong into that corner.
He's only had to make 2 of them and they've been textbook stuff. So Gary Mason, the man I was talking about, he's destroyed those barriers.
So he's fallen off on the way into that corner. Maybe he's turned in a little bit too hard. Really strange place to crash.
Yeah, red flag. We've got a red flag there because all the junk has come back in the track. So, red flag here for the Super Stocks. It looked like Gary Mason, who was uninjured there. He's binned the Kawasaki. That will give Simon Buckmaster something to whinge about. Well, we're going to have a 2-part race now, as far as my rule books are concerned. So we're going to be a mathematicians race next. We can look down the pacery.com boys there. And a 2-part race coming up, lap 4 of 16. There's a long way to go in this. The Super Sports restart is over 14 laps in. The leaders had completed 4 laps, but they've taken it back to 2 laps, and that is how they will start on the grid. So the lineup is Jeffries, Llewellyn, Richards, Vermeulen across the front row, the usual suspects, but in a different order. They come under orders then. The lights are red now and green, and a jump for the 3rd row of the grid, but it's Llewellyn who gets a flyer, and round comes Vermeulen down into Old Hall corner. Vermeulen on bike number 4 then, as he did in the start proper, grabs the lead down towards Cascades now, up the inside. Looks like, well, I told you what, I thought Jeffries was having a look at the inside there as they come down to Cascades. In 3rd place is Matt Llewellyn, the series leader.
Jeffrey mirroring his pass in the first leg as well. He likes that scary line there, doesn't he?
He does indeed. Well, he's not frightened of anything, is he, David Jeffries? Least of all out commentary. So Jeffries out of Druid's corner then, heads down towards Lodge now, leads this race. So if Jeffries leads this race, it's Llewellyn who's got to do most of the work. Llewellyn is 1/10 of a second behind.
By taking it back a couple of laps, Llewellyn and Richards both suffered a little bit. Richards has actually caught the leading pair, but because they've gone back a couple of laps, he's counted as being 8/10 of a second behind, so he has to finish 8/10 of a second in front if he wants to win.
OK, well, the order on the track is Jeffries, Vermeulen, Llewellyn, but the actual order is Jeffries, Llewellyn, Vermeulen as far as the corrected times are concerned. And I'll tell you, this is getting very close. Glennie Richards then on a mission here. Glenn Richards goes through, or does he?
Well, I don't know. We'll see who gets the better drive.
Oh, Vermeulen underneath. Oh, I tell you what, he's taking on David Jeffries at Ireland, and that is a bit quick for one there. Coming to the line then.
Llewellyn's snaking up the inside into the first turn.
How good is he at that? Every time he does that.
Actually, a couple of laps to settle down and get into the rhythm in the first start. So give him a couple of laps, and now he's starting to move through. So I think we're going to see him going really fast in a couple of laps.
Well, Matt Llewellyn must lead David Jeffries by just over 1/10 of a second. 2/10 of a second will clinch it for Llewellyn. Through he comes. So then, Matt Llewellyn again, so good on that part of the track.
Yeah, fantastically fast in that part of the circuit.
Jeffries.
It doesn't look like he takes the swooping lines there, but he still manages to carry the corner speed. Matt's definitely winding up the wick, 36.6, that's getting down into the quality.
I'll tell you what, the terminal speed as you get your teeth back in order there, Scott. He runs so young with false teeth as well. 103 mile an hour on a Super Sports bike. That is quick, isn't it?
And that's the average lap time as well.
Uh-oh, more damage. I tell you, I've never known a race meeting like this one at Alton Park where we have had such carnage continually through qualifying and testing. Amazing.
And not even like we can blame the weather this weekend.
Talking to a man who's hobbling at the moment.